Well, happy Friday, everybody. Yes, we actually made it through another week that seemed like it was only a couple days long. I don't know. Maybe it's you, maybe it's me, maybe it's all of us, but something is amiss. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe time is going faster. Maybe they broke time. I don't, Either way, it is going by faster and faster and faster. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in and taking the time out of your day. Appreciate it. It is an honor to be here, and to me, this is an enclave of kind of just joy. And we may not all agree all the time. That's cool. But we never should get, you shouldn't take an angry position with someone that disagrees with you. That's the wrong approach. You may say, no, I totally disagree with that. I can't see how you could say that. But always keep that third option as going, yeah, I may not understand it, but I can accept it. I don't have to agree with it. So anyway, it's called love, folks. Show a little bit of it. World could use a lot more of it. And don't be afraid to speak it. So favor be upon us all. I just speak it over us. I've seen it manifest so much here lately. It's like, okay, that's cool. But anyway, and we always like to say nothing missing, nothing broken. Be of service to others. Bosto, baby. So, hello, Lauren. How are you? Grandpa Brian, good to see you, brother. Mr. Floyd, how are you? Much love to you. Mark, how are you as well? Brazil, well, thank you, good sir. Welcome. So good to see you. Hello, Millie. And there is Doug and Steven. How are you? I'm just trying to go. Gilbert, what's up, brother? Good to see you. I sent you a text, man. Tell me what you think. Rick, what's up, brother? Good to see you. And hello, Bonnie. Lost in space. Good to see you as well. Chloe, much love to you. Emperor Rex, how are you? Red Herring Media, what's up? Jackie, Jay, I love it. She sent me a t-shirt. I have to wear it. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Lilith, how are you? Good to have you amongst us. You know, like minds always are attracting. Yeah. Loretta and Grace, good to see y'all. We're going to have a good time on Sunday. We're going to do it too. And hello, Purgatory Traveler, good to see you. And go. And Peter, and I think I got it all. JC, good to see you as well. Thank you for it. So, anyway, what's happening as I get caught up here? All right, I'm back. So, going to have surgery on this hand. Listen, a lot of you have written me emails, Robert, and just a number of y'all. Just right now, it's rather painful. I can peck, but that, really becomes laborious. So, yeah. Yeah, and then I was cooking dinner and was actually chopping up a potato and the knife slipped and my wife said, "What the heck were you trying to do?" So anyway, um and sometimes you look at events and you can say, "Well, that's really bad," but it's a matter of perspective. We laughed. I made this recipe, and whoever wrote this recipe uh, made a mistake in the ingredients. Instead of 1 can of cream of mushroom, they said two. Well, two wasn't the answer. And so, have you ever had this? In this case, it was a casserole, and you think everything is cool. And then about 50 minutes into this, it starts bubbling over. And then once it hits, the bottom pan of the oven, which is already hot, then you start having abundant billows of smoke, right? And but it's something because no matter what your reaction to it, it ended up being just fine. Yeah. So anyway, last year we had no acorns. First year that we moved here, we had, mucho dinero. And this year we've got acorns. We've got these size. We've got these guys. And, it's always good to remember what the laws of physics are. You know, that which goes up must come down. Yeah. And no matter what the size of the object, it reaches a faster speed as it descends. Gravity, right? So you ever have one of these and you're standing out underneath one of our trees and it hits you in the head? Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Yeah, and someone said acorns are good luck. Well, we've got an overabundance of it, and it's good for the wildlife. Deer like it, squirrel like it, etc. So, DC, what's up? Hello, F Kitty. Good to see you. Hello, Joe Mac. Good to see you as well. Nina, Robert V, what's up? Good to see you as well. Black Sheep Researcher, what's up? Done many videos on memories, and the subject is crazy interesting. It is indeed. Um, no doubt about it. In fact, you get into this and you start reading the white papers and the research that's being done on this. The other minds other than our own are thinking on the same paths. It's like, all right, tremendous benefits. On the surface, seems like it's a total upside deal. But as the idiom says, the devil is in the details. And man, there's some details on this. Because here is a fact. Can false memories be implanted into your mind while you're conscious? Not even to speak about the subconscious, but yes or no? The doctor is in the house. How you doing? And Twilight Miss, good to see you as well. Um, RF, what's up? So, from North Carolina, eyes and ears. Well, man, you know, you hear about what's going on out there. It's just send them not only your healing thoughts, but again, if you can manage to spare a few shekels, you know, make sure it's a local organization. We talked about that. So anyway, much love. Do you know back in the day, acorns would attract the passenger pigeons, and that's how all that I did not know that, Robert. I learned something else new today, you see? Worth the price of admission. Cool deal, buddy. I did not know that. Got to get you on here, Robert. Tell me when you have a day, and love to get you on, and I'll stay up late enough and try to get on your show as well. So, so is the question, can your memories be implanted while you are awake and conscious? Well, the simple answer is yes. And it happens all the time. It's a title and in the description. If you're exposed to television, you're already in radio. We don't think about how Wi-Fi works. Everything's Wi-Fi now, everything. So we're in this electromagnetic soup. I did a video on that years and years ago. And something that particularly now everybody's at a fever pitch, politics. Yeah. And the question is, well, are these memories then that can be implanted into us while we're thinking, while we're cognitively aware, so they say, and if they can be implanted, are they short term, midterm, long term? It is a fact. Gilbert was telling me that his mom is an assisted living facility, and I don't think I'm just telling anything, Gilbert, that, you um, but he pointed out that the gentleman that was across the hall in the other room, 83, prominent brain surgeon. And Gilbert says this guy doesn't know if he's a rock or a duck. So, folks, this is a warning to all of us. Dementia now is being reported. Get that. You used to didn't see dementia until later years in life. Now it is showing up in the 30s. They're doing something to us. In fact, they call dementia now the fourth type of diabetes. When I was growing up, we never heard of diabetes. It was non-existent. We worked. I didn't, there were a number of years as a kid. We may have been out of school, but there was no summer vacation. My brother and I, we had, it was a good 3/4 of an acre garden. And my brother and I, for that entire summer, we weeded that thing. This was down on the Texas Gulf Plains. And no sooner did you get finished with all the rows, you had to start over again. And that was on top of taking care of the cows, taking care of the chickens, the rabbits, along with, we had to cut the grass, but we didn't have no power mower. No, we had a push mower. So there was no time. We didn't have sweets in our house. I don't remember them. If, on your birthday or during the holidays was about the only time. It wasn't around. So anyway, hi, the Maelstrom. How are you doing? Says apparently the dementia they're saying is a type of diabetes. So keep the mind active. It's like doing this show. You have to come up with an idea. You have to come up with the subsequent graphics. And you do this 5 days a week, sometimes 3 or 4. But it forces your mind. It's never idle. So, I'm just reading some of the comments. So, anyway, getting back to memories, politics, religion. Religion is probably the most common memory implant. And it's amazing the power of religion, because after you're in it for a while, you begin to forget certain memories, and then other memories seem to be coming in that have this overlay. That's really bizarre too. I'm just trying to read some of the comments. Hey, Gaia, what's up? Good to see you. Hello, Eric. So I guess there's a conversation going on there. See, I always love this. But anyway, so yeah, they can. In fact, I have an article here. Allow me to share it with the group. And so this is Psychology Today. And this article is false memories. And although memories seem to be solid, straightforward sum of who people are, without our memories, we don't exist. Strong evidence suggests that memories are much more quite complex, highly subject to change, and often simply unreliable. Memories of past events can be reconstructed as people age or as their worldview changes. People regularly recall childhood events falsely And through effective suggestions and other methods, it's been proven that they can even create new false memories. I'll just bring this out as a former minister. Um, God, the God that existed in the minds of people 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, is not today. In fact, your perception of God is a false memory implant. Someone placed that memory into you and you built from there. Yeah. In this article, and it's a really good one, why false memories are common. Um, a person's malleable memories. Now, malleable is quite that word. It's like, an artisan creating sculpturing, it's malleable. Memories often involve the mundane, such as when we second guess whether the stove really is off or on, but they can often be far more consequential in as unreliable eyewitness recollections of a crime. And it's odd because you probably have a specific memory of something in your childhood, and it's really odd how our memories are erased from, the crib. Some people say that they have memories. Medical science say that's probably, if it is, it's extremely rare. But those seem to fade out, and you can recall certain events. But yet, if I was to ask you, well, let's say, what did you have for lunch on August 15th, 1991? Tell me where you were at. And, very mundane things like that, our minds can't handle it. It throws it out. It says, what causes a false memory? Human memory is pliable and easy to manipulate. A distorted memory or an introduction of later false information can affect how we recall events we experience firsthand. And you look what's going on today with all the hatred and the just nastiness that's going on. It has a direct mental impact on us all. The younger you are, the more it will be more impactful. It can distort what reality actually was or is. Wild stuff. And imagine an alien race discovering this about us. They could set themselves up as God or gods, and we would give our life defending that memory. Mm-hmm. A person's existing knowledge can impede and obstruct their own memory, leading to a newly formed, cobbled together recollection that does not accurately reflect reality. Also, under certain circumstances, a person can be given false information and be convinced to believe that an event that never occurred actually did. This article in Psychology Today continues this. Should I question my memories? Given that our recovered memories may be genuine or false, or a combination of the two, it is legitimate to question just how much of what you remember is real and how much is misperception. It's like if you were in your younger days and you did the clubs. So how many of you have ever thrown up by drinking too much? Now, your mind will associate that with an event that did or did not happen because you're already memory impaired. Weird stuff. Says why memories matter. A malleable memory can have especially dire consequences, particularly in legal settings when children are used as eyewitnesses. Research has found that a child may be especially susceptible to the implanting of false memories by parents or other authority figures. Now, when we apply this to this virtual reality, holy crap. And I mean, I'll say this, medical science is not convinced that this is the be all to be all. And they're realizing that, holy crap, the initial research is showing that it freaking scrambles your brain. I mean, whoa. All right. And if you had some nefarious purposes, oh mama. Yikes. Um Says this becomes highly problematic when a case involves alleged sexual abuse or relies on correct identification of a suspect by a child. But adults can also be tricked into remembering events that never happened or changing the details of things that really did happen. Why do I remember things that never happened? Presented with incomplete information, the brain seeks to fill in the blanks. If you see a photo of a person you have never met, for example, a mutual friends have shared descriptive details on time spent with the person, you may start to believe that you have in fact met that individual. Not giving a review on a restaurant that you never ate at. Why do memories change over time? Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus of the University of California at Irvine, an influential researcher on memory who has consulted on many high-profile legal cases involving disputed memories, include the McMartin preschool sexual abuse allegations, notes that everyone embellishes or adds to their memories during recall or recounting. Over time, those changes, accurate or not, become part of the memory in the mind. Loftus warns that human memory is not a recording device, but more like a Wikipedia page. You can change it, but others can too. I mean, yeah. How misinformation is easily spread on the internet. Almost everyone claiming objectivity or impartiality can disseminate false memories through the dissemination of specious information. Misinformation or fake news has become ambiguous through media such as doctored videos, photoshopped images, as well as fabricated text. How about AI? Do you know AI is now writing news? Do you know AI has now hired representative agents? Wow. Such misinformation is especially persuasive with audiences who already harbor biases endorsed by the inaccurate messages. That's why all political ads are all lies. There's no truth in it. No political ad is designed to tell you anything but to invoke in an emotion and a memory. In this case, hate. You never get into the honesty. They're never fact checked. They never have to pass the same laws of truth in advertising. Do you know that the politicians exempt themselves from that? And again, it's the Smoot-Hawley Act, I believe is what it was called, where now the United States government and all the different parts of it are now the number one program propagators and spreaders of propaganda, misinformation, disinformation. Now, when your government starts doing that and exempts itself from the very laws that it holds advertisers to, you ever wonder why the United States continue to allow drug commercials from pharmaceutical companies on television? We're the only nation that is allowed. It's programming. It's designed that your body will create the symptoms for such drug that you're seeing. When you take that the average IQ of most Americans is below 100, the influence of commercials, these brief bits of information, become distorted reality. And if you have, for instance, drug companies pushing pharmaceutical drugs of names that most people could not pronounce, much less spell, and if you see how the commercial is, it's implanting false memories, you don't see the sick people. You see happy young people. They do musicals, and et cetera, all implanting false reality. Um, Why is misinformation so detrimental? Several recent events have proven that memory can become weaponized. Wow. Quite often effectively. Social media, folks. Social media. Now, for myself, this is the only social media I'm on. I don't go to Facebook. I don't go to any of the others. I mean, so once misinformation taken hold in a target's mind, the new false recollection hinders his or her ability to make informed decisions about policy and politicians. Fake news drives social discord and character assassination and even corrupts crucial personal choices about health and well-being. This is not something to be messing with. And when you begin to realize that our whole reality is predicated and shaped by what we hold as memories. I mean, perception is relying on the memories, the accessing of the data banks. It says, can our attitudes and biases influence memory? Biased thinking molds the way we remember. We all employ bias when perceiving, interpreting, and remembering information and events. This effect extends to the ways in which we tap our memories for information about such things like fake news. It goes on talking about how you can basically spot fake news. Now, so when you take that into consideration, this is facemedicine.com. And in this article, it is another one of these. In fact, you get into this deep enough, you could literally say you don't know what reality is, because if you look at other than the physical existence of what matter holds, which we perceive as reality, extending beyond that, everything becomes highly subjective as to whether it is in fact or in fact is not. And I mentioned earlier, there is this effect where our earliest memories, and the vast portion of our memories, to be very candid, are erased. This article dealt with planting false memories in people's mind and then erasing them. Says that a small team of researchers from the University of Hagen, Leipzig Institute for Wissenaminen, Joanne's University, all right, anyway, University of Portsmouth, have found that false memories planted in the mind of volunteers can be just as easy erased. In their paper published in the Proceedings of National Academy of Science, the group describes memory experiments they conducted with volunteers and what they learned from them. False memories, as their name implies, are those of places or events that have never happened. Prior research has shown that false memories can arise naturally due to cues that the mind uses to create memories of events that might not have happened but did not. Prior research has also shown that it is possible to plant false memories in other people using certain psychological tricks. Notably, such tricks have been used in well-known criminal trials to push possible witnesses into remembering things that did not occur. I always think of My Cousin Vinny when I think I can see Joe Pesci. Typically, These tricks involve suggesting to a person that an event occurred and then using an external trusted source to back up the claim. In this new effort, the researchers attempted to plant false memories in 52 volunteers by creating plausible stories from their childhoods and mixing them with events that actually happened. The researchers then backed up the false memories by asking the parents of the volunteers to claim that they happened as well. Over the course of several sessions, many of the volunteers came to believe the accounts were true, and some of them generally false memories of them. Generated false memories of it. Now that's really weird because our minds have this capacity to begin to add to the unreality. You see, this is why astral projecting travel, as with the expedition group, as we start getting into the physical dream state, this is all proof that this exists. Memories. I mean, talk about the astral realms. Says next, the researcher set about erasing the false memories from the minds of those volunteers. They found they were able to do so by first asking them to identify the source of the memory and then by explaining to them that sometimes false memories can be created when people are asked to recall them multiple times. Over several sessions, the researchers found that the volunteers began to lose the memories they had created of the false event. The researchers also invited the volunteers back again a year later and found that 74% of those who had created false memories had lost their memories of the false event or had simply rejected them as having ever happened. Wow. Now, isn't it curious because we don't talk about the 26%? Apparently, they're living in this false created reality. Now, you take this to the next step and it begins to explain something. And when I show you this, you're going to connect the dots immediately. But what this is showing is that there is obviously something of intelligent basis that's doing this purposely. And that is, folks, let me get my mouse. This is elfscience.com. Study finds the Mandela effect is real and incredibly difficult to explain. Now, we've seen this before. You've seen the images. What is this one? Monopoly, Find Waldo, Pokemon, Fruit of the Loom, R2D2, CPO30, excuse me. The article goes on to say that if you've spent too much time on the internet or the internet from a parallel universe before you slipped into this one, is that possible? I think there was a show on Netflix that was based on that. That not all of us belong here. We know it. When when Trump won in 16 of November, it was quite amazing what that effect did on people. I still have it archived where one woman wrote me and just flat out said, no, no, no. She said, this is not my reality. This is not, was telling me that, intimate details about her husband that she found. And she said, no, this event was never supposed to happen. Never, yeah. Example includes films that have never existed, such as Shazam, starring Sinbad, or the fact that Fruit of the Loom has never used the cornucopia in its logo. Now, I happen to have a different recall. I remember that. I remember, and it was a poor production on top of that, Sinbad. I was in the video and film industry. Yeah. Um, Says the Mandela effect is fascinating and amusing in general, and I can understand how most of its examples came to be. But now it's trying to tell me that the Fruit of the Loom never had a cornucopia in its logo ever, and my reality is crumbling. You see, I remember the one on the left distinctly. Want to know why? Because as a ward of the state, um, the foster parents that I was staying with, we would go to J.C. Penney's and to buy me clothes and, the whitey tidies, the fruit of the loom. It says that a team of psychologists from the University of Chicago, intrigued by the idea, decided to put it to some actual scientific rigor, as well as testing whether if there really was an effect. They aimed to discover why visual Mandela effects, VME now, occurred. The results were sort of maddening. In their first experiment, currently available as a preprint ahead of its publication in the Journal of Psychological Science, participants were asked to look at images of a logo, character, or mascot, including popular examples of the Mandela effect and others that had been added as controls, as well as original real versions of the image. They included several other versions with mistakes on them, made to fit in with the original design as much as possible. This included popular, misremembered versions. The participants were asked to select the image they believed to be the original, as well as rate how confident they were that it was correct. They estimated the number of times that they had seen it. The image was only considered to be potentially a VME if it was consistently misremembered. People were confident about their choice, and the same wrong image was consistently selected. Interestingly, in the questions which used examples of the Mandela effect properly cited on the internet, the popular misremembered images was selected a significantly higher proportion of the time than the original. What is going on here? And this is what begins to get really strange. When you start having a larger percentage of the nominal value, if you take statistics, you know what I'm talking about. So we have an ordinal that is in play here. And now we're seeing that we've exceeded the nominal value. We're getting now into the ordinal value of where something is going on. If you have a percentage of people who are and a greater percentage who are remembering false memories collectively, something is going on. These results indicated that these 7 images of C3PO, Curious George, and the Fruit of the Loom, the Monopoly Man, uh, Pikachu, the Volkswagen logo, Waldo from Where's Waldo, had not only accuracies below chance, but also specific incorrect versions that were falsely recognized as the original. The team wrote in their paper, thus, these 7 images were labeled as VME apparent. Are we dealing with this fluidity of realities? We think that we're in a stable dimension. What if and it appears that may not be the case, but it's interesting that in parallels, we find ourselves here together, and it seems to be plausible that many of us never belonged here to begin with. We're here now. It's not to say that we're going to be here in a year from now. Furthermore, their accuracy is surprisingly low given the reported familiarity and confidence people had with these images. So far, so weird. Next, I mean, huge implications here. The team showed the participants the correct images and asked them to study them without explaining that they would be asked to recall information about the image they saw. When they were subsequently asked to select between the correct version and a manipulated version, the VME images were still consistently chosen over the correct versions they had just studied. This, in my layman's opinion, this is getting now into the really weird. Because if this happens to the greater portion of the population, things could get really dicey quickly. And maybe that's what we're seeing. Something is happening, and it's affecting not only recall memories, but perceived foundations of reality. When asked about their choices, those who had selected the correct image said things along the lines of they only saw the fruit, not the cornucopia, while people who selected the VME image also claimed that they remember seeing the manipulation a few moments ago in this example, the cornucopia, even though they had not. Wow. In fact, incorrect responses to VME apparent images were more often attributed to memory of the manipulated feature, 66.54%, than those to match non-VME images, 44.92%, which instead tended to be more guest-based. And this is, and you think about this. You now have moving almost to, an overwhelming majority. From this part of the experiment, they concluded that a popular source image, e.g., if there was a popular image of Pikachu with the black tip added to the tail, which it does not usually have, but people took as conical, was not the explanation of the visual Mandela effect, as it is unlikely that the non-conical version from prior experiences is overriding their recent experience of the conical image. Wow. Whoa. One idea that might explain why people are making the same mistakes is schema theory, which suggests that people fill in missing information, say they can't remember exactly what the Monopoly Man looks like, with information based on our expectations and association. Slap a monocle on him in our minds, and he is known as incredibly rich. However, this theory falls down with many of the VMEs. In one experiment, main image, the participants were asked to select a correct Fruit of the Loom logo from the VME version, the correct version, and one with a manipulation. They could have picked the correct Fruit of the Loom logo, the Fruit of the Loom logo with cornucopia, or the Fruit of the Loom logo with a plate underneath it, co-author Desperi Perzad said in a press release. The fact that they chose cornucopia over plate when plates are more frequently associated with fruit is evidence against the idea that it's just the schema theory explaining it. Bingo. Disappointingly, or maybe just intriguingly, The team found no real explanation for the consistent mistakes. In another experiment, participants were asked to draw the logos and characters, while still reproduced Curious George with a tail, Pikachu with a black tail, and the Fruit of the Loom with a cornucopia. Evidence suggests that some people may be making consistent memory errors, even with extensive visual experience with the icon and without having experienced variants before, they write in their discussion. In some, we revealed a set of images that cause consistent and shared false memories across people, spurring new questions on the nature of false memories. We showed that the VME cannot be universally explained by a single account. Instead, perhaps different images cause a VME for different reasons. Or, hear us out, the participants have shifted universe and just don't know it yet. Wow. Let that sink in. So, if this is what science is coming to certain conclusions, holy crap. I mean, think about this. I'm just reading some of the comments. So how many of you don't belong in this reality? I would say I don't. There is something inside of me instinctively says that this is all wrong. This is not the path that humanity should be on. Now, I don't know if I'll ever wake up out of this nightmare. I mean, listen, I get the beauty of this place and what have you, but what you're saying is that then just because I have a physical outside, trees, sky, etc., that this is reality. I would disagree. It's what we think and been taught as reality. Maybe there is an imprint of the same thing in multiple different universes or timelines. If your body had the ability to advance its internal clock either by a 1,000th of a second, either way, you wouldn't be in this reality. You would phase out. Now, if the Bible, the Quran, the Pentateuch, if they teach that humans, in fact, have physically left this dimension, this plane of existence, and physically transmuted into another existence, what is that saying? Did the stories of we hear about the Eldridge, the Philadelphia experiment, said to have actually happened, and that whatever device that they had used, I mean, they said Einstein was involved in a lot of different things, but whatever they did physically altered matter and scrambled it up in such a way that it was phasing in and out, and they say probably most likely multiple dimension, multiple times. And of course, the story goes right there, if you've ever been in Philadelphia, that's where it was conducted at, that when they went on board, the ship was both super hot, super cold. They had people soldiers that were still alive that were embedded in the metal. They had pieces of the Eldridge showing up in different places on the planet. So the alien interview, yeah. So I can say this now. They seem to be real to me. I remember taking the substance, but if you become in an altered state of consciousness, such under the effects of drugs, hallucinogenics, etc. We have studied, those of us who have studied, we know that the shaman, the witch doctors, the witches, the medicine woman, the medicine man, the priest, the priestess, all partook of substances that altered their existence in two different planes, maybe multiple planes. I mean, if the existence of a single unity that would be called source, creator, God, goddess, however you want to say it, it is merely one dimensional in how I was taught. If such a being does exist, it would be existing in multiple planes and multiple times. It would be the creator of all time, right? And to say that it exists above time is not accurate, because if it exists here, then it would have to coexist in multiple times. Now, we get together on Sunday. This is how I see us doing this. I mean, it's been done before. And when you look at the effects of what memory implant, and then you start taking the aspect of these virtual realities, and I didn't even get to the documents. I'll get them on Monday, because they're worthwhile reading about. The danger for children is incalculable, but yet they're passing this off as, and in this, it's one of the hot gift items. The Oculus glasses from Meta Universe, Facebook, the others, with Google or Alphabet, they're all coming out with their own now. The new PlayStations are now moving from the screen to the virtual reality. What happens when these young minds begin to expose to most video games are very violent. Now you're taking this into the astral realm, into the mind. I mean, this is, I don't know. Some said that, and I would say that there's credence to the comment that they could lose their soul. Now, I question whether we actually have a human soul. I think that by the way, I saw the comment, someone said, where did you get that information? Go study the Human Genome Project. It's available online. You can download the PDFs. And again, the conclusion of what the Human Genome Project did was that we mapped the human genome. Now we're in the mitochondrial DNA mapping that. And we have found some startling aspects. There are no humans on this planet, at least not in the sense if you're 100% human. And we've discussed this. And so all of this has a corresponding effect. So, I mean, do we have a hybrid soul? But in any case, if you start looking at this, and it's not just companies like Alphabet, Apple, Microsoft, there's a whole array. Defense contractors are now virtually moving to the Oculus glasses, the virtual reality headsets. This changes the dynamics. I mean, you could really say that they're evolving into something that if you're not exposed to that, you would be distinctly different. And as they continue down that path and you continue down your path, the separation would become very obvious. Now, you think if you got someone very nefarious that was looking into control, you could then control every individual that's exposed to this technology. You could begin to implant ideas, ideologies, beliefs, religious, government, political. And if you start introducing this at the age of 4 and 5, I don't know what the consequences would be. And I often wonder if there are other timelines, other universes where we didn't have this technology, that somewhere we bifurcated on the road and we got off the wrong track. And then you think about it, and I've experienced it where you can go to different places. They're as real as this. Kind of like Star Trek Next Generation, the holodeck. You know, space is filled with matter. There is no empty space. And if you have the ability through virtual reality, and that's all the holodeck was, very early adaptation of what virtual reality would be, that you could walk into a confined space that would be limitless. You can experience any emotion. It's the same thing. Gene Roddenberry may, in fact, been a time traveler. Who knows? Uh, I don't know what the divine is. I don't know what that's back. Um, I have to go back. Hey, Stephanie, what's up? Good to see you. Uh, yeah, I love this group. Lauren, I love that too, Daryl. Uh, Grace says, don't play with those games. Yeah, I don't. Um, wouldn't. But it's here. And again, my suspicions, because just what I've seen living on this planet for 25,200 and some days, uh, humans, we we have the most unique talent to get ourselves into situations that we can't get ourselves out of. And again, I agree with the woman that wrote me, almost 8 years ago. She said, "This is not," and I've disclosed this. I've told you. She said, "In the way that I know is that my husband's penis is not the same." That would be a pretty good indicator that, you know. But and she wrote, she said everything. She said looks to be the same, but she said there are subtle differences, and it's not the only person. Nina says, make sure to check her out and Robert over on her channel for sure. So, yeah, you ladies would know more about that than us men could ever deal, but apparently my wife tells me that is the case. But, you know, Stephanie said he's probably a clone. Yeah. Uh, and, love analysis restaurant. In fact, we're going to be doing that over the Thanksgiving holiday. It's always here in Casey. That was the thing. Thanksgiving Eve, always had to listen to Analysis Restaurant. Lost in Space says, I am one of those people. Well, Lost in Space, we'll talk to more about you. Say, love this. Miriam, how you are? Did you agree to be transferred? Oh, I think that's probably a question to you, Lost Space. But anyway, yeah, it's very strange, Millie. I mean, it really is. Like I said, my religion taught me that, teleportation, transporting of physical human flesh, which indicates then that what if there is this intermediate zone where you're still kind of coalescing, but as you go into another dimension or realm, you would coalesce back into what you were. I don't know. It's pretty strange. Mr. Floyd says, check out his channel, Archangel Raphael, Saint Germain, Goddess Isis, Schmidt in daily. What time? Is it 10:30? Is that right? I think it is. Um, but anyway, okay. I hope you have a great weekend. Beautiful weather here. Sending our thoughts and our best to all the folks there on the East Coast, North Carolina and Georgia, and particularly North Carolina. They seem to have been taken. That was some wild stuff. How do you get 65 inches of rain? I mean, in less than an 8 hour, I mean, that's just nuts. But anyway, uh, Al, good to see you. Um, Love the comments. Walk-ins, that's interesting. 10:33 a.m. on East Coast and 7:33 in the morning, all you folks on the West Coast. Deborah, you're welcome. I hope it was a good chat. Um, Robert says, check them out over the Milky Way Soul Tribe on Saturday nights, excuse me. Um, if I can make people laugh and raise their frequency, I belong here. There you go. And maybe that's why most of us are here. We have a mission and a purpose. And then who knows? Maybe when we get finished with that, we're, you know, like Mr. Emporium and his, what was that with Dustin Hoffman? Um, Great movie though. And he just finished his mission and wore the last pair of shoes. Any of you guys, what is the name of that movie? McGorm, wasn't it? Something like that. Anyway, it was a cute movie. I thought it was interesting because I still remember him in The Graduate. Mrs. Robinson, are you trying to seduce me? And I also liked him in Little Big Man. That was interesting. Anyway, all right, folks. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you again for tuning in and adding to the adventure. Love to hear your comments. And if you'd ever want to come on and talk about any of these type of things, love to have you. It's something that requires more study because we just can't just do this one time and just blow it off. No, no. This has got it has implications about our reality today. All right, so the doctor, thank you. Thank you very much. Witch Moon, much love to you and Rick. See all of you expedition folks on Sunday. We'll make it happen. So just make it happen. I think it's going to be completely different. The energy is definitely far more higher. It's back into that channel that we were in. So absolutely. Um, Black Sheep Research, absolutely. I would agree with Ginger. Come hang out with us. It's a lot of fun, you know. It's a lot of fun in here. Great people. Just beautiful. So cheer up, you know. It's all right. As Mr. Natural said, just keep on trucking. It's all right. Uh, you know, we're going to do just fine. This is just a phase. We can turn this phase around. I mean, it's not to say we don't have a lot of weeding to do, but boy, we can do it. All right. Much love, everybody. Until we see each other again on Monday, just have a great weekend. Just chill out and just enjoy the fall weather. And if you're down under, I guess it would be spring. Ruby, good to see you. So good to see you always, dear. Purgatory Traveler, have a great one. F Kitty. So everyone, I'll see